Okay. Councillor Pearson, are you okay to roll?
Sorry?
Are you okay to roll?
Yeah, fine.
Right, the first item is apologies for absence. I have an apology from Councillor Josh Green, who has a work commitment tonight. That's all I've received.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
may I propose that the apology from Councillor Green is accepted?
seconded.
Second.
Again, for the purposes of convenience, any dissent at all? Okay.
No.
Other members not present, their absence will be recorded as unapproved. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Do we have any?
No.
No.
Councillor Pearson, you are very quiet tonight.
Am I? I'll shout up.
Turn it up. All right. Thank you. No declarations of interest? That sounds
No.
of it.
No.
Okay. Item 3 is public participation. Again, when we have a physical meeting, we allow up to 30 minutes. The last couple of meetings, because of topical issues, we've suspended that and just let it take its course. What are members' wishes this evening?
Hello, Councillor Pearson. Would it not be, if most of the people are here because of the Hetton Nursery, would it not be better to have a little public participation during the item 5? Is it item 5? Yes.
Can I just make a suggestion that if members want to, when we hit item 5, you can suspend standing orders to let members of the public contribute. But it may well be that there are other issues which are not related to the nursery, which people might want to raise under item 3, in which case I suggest we allow up to, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes.
Madam Mayor, may I propose we allow the usual 30 minutes at this particular point, and then we call for a suspension of standing orders to allow public to participate on anything else which may become contentious later on.
Yeah, agree.
Council okay with that?
Agree.
Any dissent? Right, jolly good. So, public participation.
Right. If any member of the public wishes to speak on anything apart from Hetton Nursery? See anybody wishing to speak? I don't know.
And anything?
No.
Mm.
No. It looks as though it's all Hetton Nursery.
Okay, if I can move on. Item 4, we have 2 sets of minutes this evening. If I'll just bring the first one up, these are the minutes of the meeting held on the 21st of December. Sorry for those of you who have been very vigilant. You see, I put 21st of December 2021 on the copy that's been sent out. Hopefully, I've got that amended. I'll just bring them on screen. No, I didn't get it amended. I'm a year ahead. Do apologise. Okay, there are 6 pages of minutes here. I'll just give a quick scroll through. If I can just comment, the item at the December meeting about Hetton Nursery School lasted for an hour and a half. It simply wasn't possible to capture the detail of that discussion, so you have a very condensed minute for item 3 of the December meeting. Hopefully it captures the sentiment. Just tell me if I'm going too fast here, mind, because I can't see anyone. I knew I'd put 2020 somewhere there. Over the page.
Madam Mayor, with the
Sorry.
amendment of the date, could I propose that these minutes are adopted as a true record of what took place on that occasion?
I'll second that, Councillor Rowan.
Okay. Any other views at all? Approved by the looks of it again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be saying this in my sleep. Any dissent at all?
No.
No.
Thank you. Approved. You need to just give me a moment. I just need to make a note of something. Okay, your next set is the minutes of the extraordinary meeting held on the 5th of January. And I did get the year right for this one. Just 2 pages for this one. There you have it. Any views, please?
Madam Mayor, if nobody has any suggested amendments, I'd like to propose that these minutes are adopted.
Seconded.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Any other views?
No.
Okay, approved. Thank you very much. Item 5. Proposed closure of Hetton Nursery School. If I can just introduce this item, at the extraordinary meeting of council on the 5th of January, I was asked by town council to contact Sunderland City Council and ask them to stop the consultation exercise due to coronavirus and the more severe restrictions. I did write accordingly. Members of the public will probably have gathered that the consultation was launched on the 4th of January. I did copy members in on a response I had from Alan Rowan, who was the officer who attended.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are any other wider views on the topic. That's the only update directly from myself.
Dennis?
Yeah, if I recall, I did put forward that we would like to suspend it due to the current conditions in the fact that not everybody's computer or phone savvy, and I'm sure that there will be residents that would like to take part, and I think it's really, really important that we put that forward. But again, I think many people's minds are made up that this is going to be trying to be railroaded through, and it's an important issue, particularly when you've got a lot of going on in our town. And I'll remind everybody this: good parenting starts at the very bottom when the children, and a bloody good nursery here. And I think we've just got to continue to fight to keep it open, because what's happening is it's disgraceful, really.
I believe you wanted to come in.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think at this point it might be appropriate to ask some of the public if they wish to speak. But prior to that, could I just comment that I agree with Councillor Geddes. This scheme this proposal seems to being railroaded through for whatever reason, just like Craddale Gardens has been railroaded through. I had the opportunity to look at the accounts for the school over the last few years, and it was interesting to note that the previous headmistress somehow managed to lose £103,000 over a 2-year period, which obviously precipitated this this problem in regard to finance. I think very strange that she then moved on, of course, to another position, which is away. And when the new headmistress came in to the year ending 2018, she actually managed to get the in-year position down to only £1,100 loss. And again, as I suspected with Mr. Rowan's presentation at the last meeting, he had gilded the lily somewhat with the statistics to show what he wanted it to show. The actual statistics don't paint quite such a bad picture as he implied. But what really concerns me is it seems that Sunderland City Council, which is Labour controlled and doesn't believe in privatisation, basic tenet of Labour policy, that they seem to be privatising nursery education by the back door. It was almost, I always considered that the state provided schools for the people and it provided the funding for it. And what seems to have happened over the past few years is that they have deliberately promoted the private sector by allowing more and more private facilities to open up, and in the process has obviously hindered the public sector, which I find quite appalling, because obviously this is a state-funded school and provides far better services than the private sector. And I really find the way they've gone about it really quite appalling. But moving on from that, I think we need to look at what else we can do to try and make the council change its mind. And I think maybe with the council's consent and Madam Mayor's consent, that maybe if some of the public have got some ideas about what we can do, because we made our representations, it seems pretty obvious to me that Mr. Rowan has absolutely no intention of taking any notice of them. So I look forward to hearing from some views from other people as to what else we might be able to do to keep it open. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, is there any members of the public, Councillor Waterson as well? And who, I cannot see anybody wishing to speak yet, but yeah, Councillor Waterson, sorry. Nobody in group and nobody in chat.
You're back on mute.
Yeah, I would like to just come in on this. That I saw a really glossy, what you would call quite a glossy brochure that was put out by Sunderland Labour regarding the £5 million that are going towards the education of Hetton children. It was a really good sell, I have to say, and a very glossy production. What I find appalling is the fact that they knew that Hetton people, parents of the children who go to that nursery, were putting up a massive fight, were spending time doing posters and trying to rally themselves to put this campaign together. And they knew full well what they were doing. And I think it's appalling and it's disrespectful to the people of Hetton, the parents of those children, that they didn't come out and say totally that it was a foregone conclusion as far as I'm concerned, and it's based on finance. I think they've led them up the garden path. They haven't been honest, and in that I'm including our city councillors for Hetton, because they've known full well that this whole thing, the headmistress of the school was on, she put a fantastic piece on about how wonderful it's all going to be. To me, it's a cart before the horse situation. There's no public consultation here. It's a foregone conclusion, and we've been used, and the people of Hetton and these parents are being used. They're just being treated like monkeys. I'm sorry, I think it's appalling, and there's no transparency, and there's no discussion between any of them. It's just a foregone conclusion.
Okay, there's
That's the way I feel about it.
Williams
I'm quite
Galaxy.
disgusted.
Williams Galaxy.
Have I done that right? Am I unmuted?
You have, yes.
Hiya there, everyone. Happy New Year and happy new lockdown. I agree with what Councillor Watterson was saying. I also seen the nice flashy brochure, basically saying that the new school's going to be up and running, and the decision, in my view, as a parent, I have twins that go to the nursery, has already been made. It's done and dusted. I was running around at the weekend trying to put up posters very discreetly, because unfortunately in the current climate, what I've done by handing out posters is actually illegal. Everything we do to try and communicate with one another, apart from on Zoom or me sat in a truck, it's illegal. We can't meet, we can't do anything of the normal democratic debating or a public consultation where we'd all sit in a room. How can you get your passion across of how much this means to the parents, the children, the teachers that are, you know, we're practically sending them to the dole queue in the pandemic? How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you? Protecting our children. All the other schools are closed apart from key workers. Nurseries are open, completely open for everyone to go to. And this is how Sunderland City Council and our Labour councillors that have been trying for days, weeks on end, and I don't mean to shout, sorry, tagging them in the pictures and saying, please help us. Can you put me in touch with other councillors that we could have a conversation about? I did manage to speak to one local Labour representative, and I got some good advice. So the questions that I would like to put forward is, Alan said in the last Hetton Town Council that potentially the kids are going to be going into porta cabins for 8 to 9 months. I might be totally wrong. I might be making it up in my head, but I'm sure he said something about porta cabins.
He did.
What is the cost? What is the cost of said porta cabins? I.e., because they don't buy them, they just hire them in. Under the COVID, Professor Chris Whitty said on the news a week or so ago that next winter we will still have to put some restrictions in place, i.e. face masks, social distance. COVID is not going away. So why do we want to then put another 50 plus kids, another 100 plus parents, another 50 plus cars, all at the same place? Local residents at the current school where they're proposing to build the new nursery, they avoid the place at 3 o'clock. Why do they avoid it? Because it's dangerous. There's cars queued everywhere. How dare you, Sunderland City Council? How dare you? And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well said.
Exactly. Emma, you wish to speak next?
Hiya, yeah. 2 seconds. I'm getting my camera on. There we go. Happy New Year, all of you. I just kind of wanted to just share a little bit of my view and raise a couple of things just with the council. Firstly, I don't want people to be downhearted by the video that was put out by Hetton Primary, because I think it was purely to scaremonger us. I think we're at a stage where we're starting to scare them. That's how I'm viewing it. I don't want people to start to feel really kind of downhearted and think we've lost the fight because the fat lady hasn't sung yet. And I do genuinely think it was a scaremongering tactic, because it can't possibly be for votes if they're going to close Hetton Nursery anyway. The other thing I do wonder though is if the video's breaking procedure, because if that public consultation has only just ended, and I believe it was the formal one hasn't gone ahead, are they not breaking procedure by doing these videos and assuming it's a done deal? The other thing as well is I know that in the last meeting, I think it was not the emergency meeting, but the meeting before that, that somebody mentioned potentially looking at saving the nursery through the Heritage Fund. I think it was mentioned because it will be an anniversary. I think it's the 75th or 76th year of that nursery this year. So I didn't know if we're getting any further with that decision, whether Councillor Turner had gone and put her name forward to support that. And in terms of kind of another two ideas I had, I don't know if there's any way, I know some of the councillors have been helping with this anyway, if there's any way of raising awareness with those people that aren't phone savvy, and people who could support from the council's point of view, anything they can do. Or even if we can meet, if there's any way of arranging to meet with Sunderland City Council, because I know councillors have said usually we will be in a room, we'd all be arguing it out, they'd be able to see how we feel. My worry is, are they just going to do this public consultation, ignore all of our thoughts online, because it's easy just to sweep it under the carpet and say tick the box done, and then we've all fought and for nothing, for them just to brush it under. So is there any way to meet with them virtually so actually we can have it out with them and we can say this isn't just a done deal? I just kind of wanted to put that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Hopper wants to come in. Sorry. Councillor Hopper wants to come in.
Hello. Obviously, I'm a new councillor, so I fall foul of a lot of the rules, as many of you know. I was just a question, and then I just wanted to explain what the question was about. So, at the end of this process, this consultation process, I understand the final vote would go back to Chamber at Sunderland City Council, where full town council will vote on it. Am I correct in saying that?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily? What's the options?
It's a bit that it becomes an executive decision.
By who?
The executive.
Well, Graham Miller?
Or the head of the department.
So it's taken out of the councillors' hands. Is that what
Could be. Not saying it will be. It could be.
Oh no, we can't allow that. We can't allow that. Not at all. Right. So my point would be that we've all pledged to work together. So behind the scenes, I've been making phone calls to different councils. I hope everybody on Hetton Town Council, city councils and town councils, especially somebody like Councillor Hurren, who's got vast experience in this area, and will have a wealth of contacts. I'd be very surprised if he didn't know all 40-odd Labour councils, city councils. Can we get an email sent from Hetton Town Council to every city councillor asking for their support to keep this nursery open? So the idea is that I want the city councils to put the money where the mouths are. I'm sick to death of decisions being made by people who don't live in the area, faceless people who say, oh, well, they read one sheet of a balance sheet. Find another way to keep this place open. Just find it. It's easy enough done. You know, I don't think they've had energy efficiency reports done it. So how much would that save if they invested a little bit of money? So, yeah, definitely, I want to keep it open. So I would like, the town clerk to copy all of the city councils in asking for their support. And then there's a couple of other things we can do beyond that. But like I said, let's get that email out and get them. And if it's going to go back to Chamber for a vote, let's get that vote confirmed and get everybody supported before it goes into Chamber. So, yeah. Great, that's all.
Madam Mayor, I'd like, if that's a proposal, Councillor Hopper, I'd like to second it.
Thank you.
Penny would like to speak, and then Councillor Cairome. Oh, and the town clerk.
Hi, yeah, mine was more of a question than anything. My understanding was, from the last time we've spoken, I've attended all the meetings so far regarding the nursery. I'm a parent of one of the little girls who goes there. And my understanding was that it was a public consultation. Now, when I've emailed Alan, because at the last meeting he said we could email him direct, I've emailed him twice. I've both times seemed to have received a blanket response. He hasn't really answered any questions that have been in there. So as a member of the public, if we don't feel like we're being consulted, how do we get our voices heard? Like we've said before, we would normally be in a room and those views would be heard by everybody else. But it does feel like because we're having to do this all electronically, because of the situation we're in and the timing, which I think is quite convenient by Sunderland Council, myself. I just feel as if, how do we get those opinions heard? Because it feels at the moment as if, yeah, email me direct, but then I'm just going to do a blanket response, and then actually I'm not going to answer any questions. And, you know, from a SEN point of view, for my little girl, I'm feeling very, very anxious. I'm a key worker myself, and I know there's not much SEN support within the local authority anyway at the moment because of COVID. I asked them directly about that. My little girl's in the process of being seen by a paediatrician, and my concern is there's no one in a nursery that's attached to a school that have never had a nursery before who's qualified enough to go through the SEN funding if my little girl needs additional support. I work in an early years setting as part of a school, and the funding is completely different from a nursery point of view. And I just think the council are quite happy, Sunderland Council are quite happy just to ignore our worries, our concerns, but is still quite happy to take our council tax and our money in the meantime, but not support our children in the choice that we have, which is where we send our children to be cared for and looked after. It just, I don't know how we get our voices heard, because they've done it when we're locked down and we're not able to get anything out there.
Well said, Penny.
The town clerk first, and then Councillor Rome. Did you want to speak there, Councillor Geddes, or are you just making a comment?
No,
Right,
yeah, I mean,
okay.
I did make a comment with Penny, but I also want to add, there's no level playing field here, because the way the council nurseries are run, there's a standard that's got to be met with wages, etc. Now, I remember this type of thing when I worked at Sunderland College, and the management would always try and bring it down, not raise it up. On the terms and conditions, you have to raise the private nurseries the same level of payments. You know, so whatever we're saying on here now, it's never going to be a level playing field, because that's one of the main reasons. Now, you know, if there was legislation put forward to say that it was a level playing field, it would be completely different. And that's why this nursery is so important, because the level of commitment with the wages and the qualifications they've got to go through and the provision that they provide, it's top notch, and that's why you've got outstanding. So that there's not a level playing field from the base start here. It just isn't.
Clark wanted to come in before, didn't you?
I did, thank you. Just a couple of things. Obviously, Councillor Hopper spoke there, and there was a proposal put forward, which was seconded by Councillor Elvin. Just need to be clear of Council the form of wording for that, and I think we probably need to go around members to see what Council's wishes are. But just prior to doing that, there's a member of the public also commented about how the City Council was engaged on this particular matter during lockdown. And I don't know that there was a conclusion to that particular suggestion. Just need a view.
From my, sorry, Councillor Geddes, from my point of view, again, you know, we've got to go back to them on that, because this is the perfect storm for the people that want this place shutting. It's the perfect storm, and I'm sorry if we're being told no. My view is, as a councillor, we go back and say, well, I'm sorry, that's just not good enough. They're going to have to come out with something better than people sending emails to a guy. From what I'm hearing now, he's just brushing them off. It's not good enough. Sorry, it's not good enough.
Clap, did you want to come back, or?
Again, you know, I've heard this discussion there. I need a clear action, and if there's a proposal in the second there, I think we need to understand.
Can I propose that the council reissue another letter or email to Sunderland City Council to this guy, and again stress the importance of people partaking in this, and at the moment that's just possible. It's not right. It's just not right.
Councillor Rome and then Councillor Hopper.
First of all, I believe Councillor Hopper's made a proposal and Councillor Eldon seconded it. And that was to write to every councillor.
Every city councillor, yes.
And I think the town clerk was trying to clarify that. But before that is done, could I just say, a member of the public who spoke very eloquently a little earlier on,
Emma.
she said that someone mentioned about claiming, applying for some money to the COVID area committee from the Heritage Fund because it's the 75th birthday. And it was me who proposed that. And I did ask Councillor Turner if she would back that proposal, because the proposal to the COVID area committee must be put forward by a city councillor. So could I ask Councillor Turner if she's done anything about that, getting the form to the nursery head teacher at all?
The only way they can claim is for the actual celebration. They couldn't get money from that to pay off the deficit. It would only have to be for the celebration. If they want to have a celebration, then we could apply to the committee.
So, so they could apply for celebration money or any other monies that they might need for equipment or something which would save them spending out of their budget, as many applicants to the COVID area committee do it. Often if they're short of funds, they apply for some money for a lawnmower or some new chairs or some new toys, and it helps keep the place afloat. So are you saying that no paperwork has been completed yet, Councillor Turner?
No, because I need to know exactly. We'll have we could send it into the nursery, but we need to know exactly what they want, what they're needing. But they can't get any deficit off with it. It would have to.
But isn't the paperwork to describe what they want the money for?
Oh yes, but it wouldn't be allowed for it to pay any money off on a deficit.
No, I'm not saying that. If you send the form to the nursery and the nursery fills the paperwork in and you give it to the Coalfield Area Committee, then it's up to the committee to decide if they're going to get money for X, Y or Z, yeah?
Oh yes. Well, it just depends exactly what it's for.
Well, that's what the paperwork's for, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can easily send them. I can get a form to Pauline. Can email them a form across. There's no problem there.
Well, if you could get that off maybe to the town clerk, and we could get it have a little meeting with the and then also that the nursery could apply to money from Hetton Town Council as well. And maybe we could help them with arranging some fundraising activities in the community, because then we need something. We need to say to Sunderland City Council, if we get X amount of money to pay off X, Y and Z and save X, Y and Z, will you keep it open?
It would have to be for a specific item what they need.
Yeah, well, so
and then there's a limit as well onto the cost, you know.
That's right. So could you send the form to the town clerk, and then we'll get the nursery.
Yes, I can get a form to the town clerk, no problem.
And then you can see if it's acceptable to put forward to the Coalfield Area Committee.
Yes, we can do that.
Could you do that this week, please?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you.
Right, do you want to
interrupt your proposals, Councillor Hopper?
I believe the town clerk wanted to come back, and then Councillor Hopper.
Sorry, I'm not sure if Councillor Hopper is going to say something just pertinent to my previous query.
All right.
So the original proposal was just really to send a basic letter letting them know about the details of Hetton Nursery and of what their proposal is by Sunderland City Council, and just ask for their support in keeping it open. If it comes to a vote in chamber, will they vote positively in favour to keep it open? And if you can only, in the area of coalfields, in all seriousness, I can supply a CCTV system down at the nursery for £24,000 exactly, and I would donate every penny back to Hetton Nursery, so you can pay your deficit off. It's not a problem, not a problem at all.
So,
Anyone
Chairman,
else wishing to speak? Sorry, Town Clerk, sorry.
so just on that, there is a proposal, as I understand it, from Councillor Hopper, seconded by Councillor Elvin. Town Council writes to all Sunderland City Councillors, highlighting the proposal for the closure of Hetton Nursery School, seeking, giving a very basic outline to the background to it, asking for their position, seeking their support, and an assurance that they will vote in favour of keeping the school open when it comes to that position in council. Have I got it?
If only I had your words,
Yep.
Town Clerk. If only I
That's
had your
fine.
words.
It's all part of the service. All part of the service. So can I just ask if that outline is acceptable, can I just go around all members and get a yea or a nay, please? Is that okay to do that now?
Yep, fine.
Again, I'm just going to go around as members appear on my screen. They're not in any particular order. I've got Councillor Geddes,
Yes.
Councillor Heron.
Yep.
Councillor Coulson,
Yes.
Councillor Pearson,
Yes.
Councillor Willis,
Yes.
Councillor Farrell,
Abstain.
Abstain, did you say? Sorry.
thanks.
Coward.
Councillor Hopper,
Give it.
yeah. Councillor Turner,
Yes.
Councillor Elvin,
Yes, in
yeah.
favour.
Councillor Dafty,
Yes.
Councillor Waterston,
Yes.
Councillor Rome,
Yes.
Councillor Dodds.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Could I just say one last thing before we move on, or you get
I was
somebody
going to
else
say
to
Councillor
speak?
Waterson wants to come in, but yeah.
Ruth Williams wants to speak as well, sorry, Chair.
No, carry on, Councillor Hopper, and I'll wait.
Just very quickly. So, as I say, I mean, I'm quite new councillor, but we all have met other councillors, city councillors, whether they be Greens, whether they be Lib Dems, Conservatives, Labour, whatever. I think it's now time to really start backing each other up. We can back them up, because I guarantee if they're doing it here, I mean, look at the house builds. I'm not going to go bang on about that, but they look at the house builds. They're doing it all over Sunderland. We need to support each other's areas. I mean, what they're doing, what the proposal down at Penshire, absolutely disgusting.
Shocking.
So we need to ask these people, the city councillors, personal friends, and see what we can do to gather support.
I know Ruth wants to come in. Ruth Williamson wants to come in, then I believe Councillor Waterson, sorry. Ruth?
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you again for the support that we're receiving. And I know that you've made a huge difference to parents and staff, because I think a lot of people feel that they're just not being listened to, and that they're not being responded to. So it's great that you're all in such support of the nursery. And I was just trying to say that obviously what we really need is people responding to that proposal that started on the 4th of January and runs until the 14th of February. So I know the details of that are shared on the friends and family page of Hetton Hall Nursery School. So even if you could invite people to join that page, or if you could share details from that page, because really we just need as many people as possible to comment on that initial proposal. And it's only one question, so it literally takes a couple of minutes. People don't need to write a lot about it. Just share the basic views if that's the case, and then the council are proposing to take it to cabinet to get to get permission to take it forward to formal consultation in February. So we're just waiting for that to come, and then we'll really need people's responses on the formal consultation.
Thank you.
No problem.
We'll do that, no problem. I know Councillor Waterson, then Councillor Heron, I believe, wanted to speak, did you? Yeah, Councillor Waterson first, then Councillor Heron, then Councillor Farrell.
I would just like to
Yeah.
I would just like to go back to what Councillor Geddes said, and I think it was a valid point, that they've come back and refused to have a meeting. I think high-handed, and I think again a second try at a meeting with these parents and people. I think I do agree with that. I think if we lie down and just accept it, well, you know, that's not the situation. We're in a battle situation here, and I think we should go back again and say that the strength of feeling for the parents and the people in Hetton and the Hetton Town councillors, we demand that we have a meeting with them. And something as important as this shouldn't just go through the channels that it's going at the moment. And we can have it via Zoom. We can have a Zoom meeting. We can do everything else at Sunderland City Council on Zoom meetings. So I think they can turn around and they can have some type of public consultation for these people via Zoom. Because until they see the strength of the opposition, I don't think they understand how strongly we all feel. So I would ask that we do go back again and we ask for a meeting with them for a public consultation on Zoom.
Thank you, Madam. It was just to say that the form really will probably need filling in by the nursery, and also the funding is usually ring fence for capital rather than the normal run of the mill pay and bills. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Farrow, did you want to come in?
Yes, just briefly. I'm not happy that another member has called me a coward. I don't think it is being cowardly to being prepared to stand up and say that, from my point of view, someone who has no emotional attachment to the nursery, someone who represents East Rainton and not Hetton and tries to see the views and the situation in Hetton as a whole regarding provision of nursery schools. I believe we should let the consultation take its course and let the views be known. Let all of us find out, as I have tried to do myself since the last meeting, what the provision of nursery schools across the whole area is and what the best way forward is here. It's a very complicated situation. I have a lot of sympathy with the staff and the parents of Hetton Nursery who feel that they're being badly treated in this way. But I think we need to take a much broader view, and that is why at this stage, not maybe at the end, but at this stage, I prefer to find out more and not vote one way or the other, because I cannot, in my own conscience, do that at the moment. I am not being a coward. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Elvin, Councillor Rome as well, don't you? Somebody's got some background noise on. Okay,
thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say that I have circulated on chat to everybody the executive members of Sunderland City Council, all their names, and I've also submitted the school organisation committee of cabinet, the names of all those councillors, and sometime we need to start bombarding these people with our objections and demonstrating our feelings, because it'll probably be it may well in the end be the cabinet that decides, as opposed to a meeting of full council. And these are, well, I agree that we should bombard all the councillors, but I think we should look at concentrating the names that I have put on the chat box. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? So, is that it?
Yeah, Councillor, I would like to come back, if I could, please.
Yeah.
It's in response to Councillor Farrow. I fully support what she says. This council does not take with one member of the council calling another member names and being cowardly is one of those. And I think Councillor Hopper should make a formal apology to Councillor Farrow.
You're on mute, Michael.
I beg your pardon, Councillor Heron. It wasn't me.
Wasn't him. It wasn't him, Councillor.
You know, should be listening.
Whoever it was needs to make that apology. Sorry, Councillor Hopper, if it wasn't you.
If I've offended anybody, I apologise, but I stand by that. Maybe I used the wrong word.
Yeah. Is that it for? Oops. Is that it for that?
No,
William
William's got his hand up.
Sorry?
William's got his hand up, Madam Mayor.
Say that again, Councillor Geddes.
William Galaxy's got his hand up.
William Galaxy has got his
Oh,
hand
right.
up.
Sorry, he has as well. I can see him. He's taking no notice of him. Sorry, William.
Sorry, have I done that right again? Yeah,
Yes.
I have, right. You can just see how much emotion is just between you councillors. Can you just imagine what it's like to be a member of staff in the middle of a pandemic, looking after kids, thinking, am I going to catch this? Am I not going to catch it? Am I going to have a job tomorrow? Am I not going to have a job tomorrow? And then a parent who's working away from home or teaching other kids in another school thinking, you know, I plead with you all, of all colours, of all parties, let's stick together on this. I believe that Councillor Heron, you're the key to this, Bob. Absolutely the key. You have known all these councillors. You can do so much more. And you are a man of the community. I know you are. I've heard so much good about you. Please help us. I plead with you. Help us, Bob, because you are the key. You can unlock all these other councillors. Please help us. And I bid you all fair night. I've got to get up at 2.
Thank you
Go
very
on,
much.
Councillor Heron. Pick the baton up and get running with it.
Okay. Right. Is that Town Clerk?
Yeah, just to come back, there was a suggestion, I think it was from Councillor Geddes, supported by Councillor Waterson, that the Town Council rights to seek a public consultation via a remote meeting. Is that Council's wish? And if so, to whom do you wish me to write to request it?
Well, I stand by. I would like to say that there's nothing like going to the top and wishes to the chief executive and it'll do so. Would be, you know, it's not going to only turn around and say we've already said no again. But if they do actually agree, then maybe we can put a little bit of a break on all of this. You know, hopefully this COVID thing get the vaccines out and hopefully we can get back to normality. For it, you know, we've got to slow things down. We've got to slow things down.
Can we go back to Ruth? Sorry, can we go back to Ruth and then go on to the yes, Councillor Elvin?
Hi, sorry, it was just to say that usually it would be Alan Rowan who puts the public meetings together in normal circumstances. So I don't know if you need to contact Alan Rowan directly first. And just to Councillor Farrow, if there's anything that you want to know or you want to come and learn about the nursery, if you haven't had anything to do with us before, we'll happily invite you down to nursery. Thanks.
Yes, Councillor Farrow, and then Councillor Elvin.
I will reply in the chat box to what Ruth has just said. I did read her earlier chat message. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Elvin.
In response to Councillor Geddes' proposal, I think we should initially be, it'll probably have to be after the 14th of February deadline, when they've had the pre-consultation, which I suspect they'll only use the positive views towards the presentation to the Cabinet, that we should be asking for a meeting with the School Organisation Committee of Cabinet, as I've outlined in the chat box I've sent, the names of the councillors who are of the School Organisation Committee, in addition to obviously the portfolio holder Councillor Farthing for Children Learning and Skills. I would think they're the people who obviously are going to have the greatest influence on the decision, and I think we should ask them to attend a special meeting. That's that would be my idea. Thank you.
I'm happy for anything as long as we can put a break on it.
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Yes.
I think to just lie down and accept and basically playing dead and accepting what Alan Rowan's come back with is not the way to go. We go back again and say we need to have another meeting. I went through his schedule and his timetable of what he wanted to happen at certain times. It was very, very good and all well thought out. And we're causing a hiccup here and they don't want it. So let's go back and ask them to have a meeting and stop it, put the brakes on and let people have their say. They're just riding roughshod. That's what he was trying to do in that last that reply. He had a schedule of things that had to happen at a certain time so that the families and the kids could get started in the next term. Well, you know, I say ask for another meeting, and if it slows down their schedule of work's tough. We're here to represent the parents and the people of Hetton.
Councillor Rome, did you want to come in? Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
yes,
then we can move on.
Think, I think the fact that that chap, Alan Rowan, has just ignored emails from people who've written to him, it's absolutely disgraceful. You know, I think have we got his email address? Maybe we could all drop him a line, because you know he came and he presented everything, and any problems come back to me, blah blah blah. And if he's ignoring emails, it's an absolute disgrace. And his manager ought to know as well. I don't know who he reports to directly, but he needs reporting to his manager.
Councillor Elvin?
Yeah, I just say, obviously he has a deadline so that he can give the staff the requisite notice to make them redundant, so that they don't have to come back and start the September term. Just a further aside, I see the council can't afford a few £1,000s to keep the nursery going under its current structure. Yet it's quite prepared to vote itself, well, may well be voting itself, a 12% pay increase.
No.
That is rumoured, so might be an idea if they forgave their 12% pay increase and put it to something useful.
Everybody quite finished, quite happy? I've got no members of the public wishing to speak that I haven't seen. No. Doesn't look like it. Okay, can we move on now?
Yeah, just a final query for me on that. So we want me to write to the City Council along the lines of the members that Councillor Elvin has furnished us with, to request a public consultation via Zoom or Teams or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Can I just ask,
great,
for the sake of expediency, is there any dissent to that, or do you want me to go through all members again?
No.
So I need a line, Councillor Pearson. Do you want me to go through all members on that, or?
I would go through all members and then we know everybody.
Okay. Right. Again, people have moved slightly from my screen. So okay, can we just take a yay or a nay, please, on that proposal that I write to the City Council members identified by Councillor Elvin to request public consultation remotely. Yeah. Councillor Heron? That's a
He's there now.
I've got a hand on, I can't get it off. I didn't know I was promoted in the first place.
Not to worry.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that.
Thank you. Councillor Coulson?
Agree.
Councillor Pearson?
Agree.
Councillor Geddes?
Absolutely.
Councillor Farrow?
Yes.
And Councillor Hopper?
Yes.
Councillor Turner?
Agree.
Councillor Elvin,
Agree.
Councillor Deputy,
Agreed.
Councillor Waterston,
Yes.
Councillor Room,
Agree.
Councillor Dodds,
Agree.
thanks. Councillor Willis.
Agree.
Don't think I've missed anyone there. Thanks for that. Okay.
Well, you've gone, Graham. Are you there?
No, I'm here. I was just looking at my
Yes, I've just
papers.
got to. No, you've moved around the screen. That's all. Right. Okay. Yeah. Can we move on now to the next item?
Yeah, item 6 is reports from members.
Quite a few. Councillor Coulson, I'll start in the corner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 3 points. On the Red social media, Facebook, people have been complaining about the speeding through South and North Street. Only that. The last couple of years, I've brought that up at meetings almost every month. Now, when I posted that back, the people implied that Hetton Town Council couldn't have any authority. So I posted back saying that all ward matters go to the clerk at Hetton Council and he passes on to the appropriate official in Sunderland. Okay? So to clear this matter up, I would like the clerk to get in touch with whoever's in charge of Sunderland of this matter and get a written, well, through email, a written statement saying whether it's on the agenda to do a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit through North and South Street, or it's not on the agenda, it's not in the immediate future or the distant future. I would like a clear answer, no mumbo jumbo, with a name and the job title, importantly the name, and I can put that on Facebook or notices in the village to say the view of Sunderland Council on this matter. So that takes the pressure off Hetton, and if there's any serious accident, it takes the pressure off me personally because I live in the area, and I'm sure Councillor Farrow has brought this matter up as well. So get a clear answer. Whoever's in charge of the department in Sunderland, I'll be grateful. Clark. Second point, salt on the roads. I've seen wagons out, but they don't seem to be spreading any salt. I've got a feeling they've run short of salt in Sunderland. So I like the clerk to, because you're not halfway through the winter yet, see what the stockpiles are in Sunderland. Because a few years ago, when they thought global warming was kicking in, and we got a few mild winters, they didn't bother to order any. But if God sends the north wind down from the north in the winter months, we're going to get snow and ice. So I follow salt wagons, and they don't seem to be going around the streets, but they haven't dropped anything. They're not coming out. Seems unusual. So I like the clerk just to make sure we've got plenty of salt on stockpile, and just because we're going to get mild winters, that doesn't mean we're going to get all mild winters. And the last point is the left turn in Gillis Lane. I cannot understand why they closed the left turn at Gillis Lane, although the road tarmac seems to be finished, directing traffic through past a school or through a housing estate. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Next, somebody.
I can answer that one for Councillor Coulson at the traffic lights at the Burn. It's because they've discovered a high voltage cable only 8 inches below the ground, so they've got the actual national grid have to come and move it. That's why that lane is still closed.
Okay, thanks for that information.
I've not heard of them sonic things, Councillor Deputy, because we had to do it when we put the statue up.
But they've discovered it. It's not deep enough. It should be 600 mil down. It's only something like 200 mil down. So that's when they started the excavations. They found it, and that's why that's still closed.
Next for members, Councillor Geddes.
Yeah, two things. If my memory serves me right, I'm sure that it's one meeting past, I asked town clerk, but if I'm wrong, I do apologise, Mr. Cady. Could we get the police back onto one of our Zoom meetings, please? Nick Jordan or somebody. I'm a little concerned at what's happening now at Evenley and Hetton. And for those of you that don't remember, I'm the horrible councillor that called Hetton the Wild West. Well, McMurchie's has had a car run into the wall. The police attended straight away because they were there, but McMurchie's have actually, the butchers have got evidence to say who it is, and they've got names. And after repeated requests from the police, I've been down today talking to the lads in McMurchie's, still haven't come out.
You've got an echo on your speech as well, Councillor Geddes.
Could I, Mr. Clark, could I say somebody's not muted and there's somebody's TV or something playing in the background, and as a result we can't hear what people are saying?
Is that better?
Everyone's on my screen. Everybody looks
But
to
it's
be
muted on the screen. Yeah, you, Councillor Geddes.
So
they weren't. They are now. They weren't.
The second point again is having spoken to somebody that lives local to both me and Councillor Elvin and Councillor Rowan, there has been issues again with somebody having a knife pulled on them and drugs. Again, this individual who I've been, and he's ex-military and an officer, so he's no shrinking violent. Again, he's raised concerns that he flat to the police, and again, nothing's being done. So can I ask Mr. Cady, please, if we could get some communication with Nick Jordan, if possible, because I've tried it today and I couldn't get through to him, just to raise these issues, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So is that in general terms, or do you have specifics?
General and specific.
I'll come back to you for the specific detail.
Okay.
Councillor Waterston, do you want to come in? And then Councillor Willis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've just had a message tonight that one of the residents has been over the golf course and the metal fencing has been cut. And it's the metal fencing that goes across the bridge over the lake at the part of the golf course nearest Peak Car. She has sent photographs to me so I can pass them to the town clerk, but it's quite dangerous because the fence, you know, if any children go near, they would actually fall quite a way down into the water. It's just been cut right through. So I'll send them to you after the meeting, town clerk, to show you exactly where they are. The other point I want to bring up is I was contacted by someone from Park Estates who'd had three of their bins, the three bins, stolen on the same night. She reported it to the police, got a crime number. However, she's still being asked by Sunderland City Council to pay for all three bins. I know that. I know you have to pay £25 for each bin. However, once you start to be targeted in certain areas, it could go on. This lady's on a very low income, and she, you know, £75 every time three of her bins go missing is going to be, you know, pretty much of a wrench on our finance. So I wondered if there was any way we could contact Sunderland City Council and ask them if they can make allowances for situations like this where they've been taken and it's a crime, they've been stolen. You know, they haven't just been damaged, they haven't, you know, they've actually gone from the property. To me, it seems it's terrible to be asking people who are, you know, already struggling to manage on their finances to pull out £75. You know, I don't know if there's what we can do, but if you could get onto them and see what they could do. The lady did furnish me with the crime report, so I would like you to report that and see what they come back with. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Willis? You're on mute.
I know, hold on, give us time.
Sorry.
Just the one, somebody got in touch with us regarding Regent Street. Gleason's coming out like at the top of Regent Street because they're finished halfway down now, so they're coming in now, and the mud down the road was horrendous. I'm not sure if Gleason's actually cleaned it up, but she came around in a car and obviously was very concerned. Obviously she's not very confident anyway, which doesn't help. But she said there was just loads, because obviously everything's muddy at the minute. So make sure that Gleason is gonna honour and clean it as it goes, especially on a night. But I know there was quite a bit of mud on the road when I went by earlier today. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Elvin?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Possibly a bit of good news. I got the clerk to ask the City Council about interactive signs. The response I got back, Mr. Keedy got back, was not very helpful, but I did notice the other day that one had appeared on Colliery Lane, which is one that I'd asked for. But of course, it was facing eastbound just a few yards before you left the de-restriction zone, which was pretty pointless really, because you only had to travel 10 yards and then you could do 60 miles an hour. So I contacted the councillor, the officer concerned, and she responded by saying, "Thank you for your observation in relation to the sign. It's noted, and we'll get our engineers to install it correctly in the correct position." And I also made a point that it wasn't operative, and she said she can't provide the exact date when the signs become operative, but anticipated sometime this month. And then she said that it was all part of a larger program. So I wrote and asked her, well, what is the larger program? And members might be interested to know, and I'll give the list to the clerk who can publish it in the minutes. In addition to the Colliery Lane, there's one going to go up on the A182 South Morsley Road, one on the A182 Pemberton Bank, one on the B1284 Mill Terrace, and another one on the B1284 at Dunelm Road. Waiting for confirmation that they're all going to be operational at the same time, but hopefully that might help us with some of the speeding. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? I know I've written to Sunderland Council for about 3 things. I know the Downs Lane isn't my area, but I walk along there quite often, and there's a load of loose pavement stones. So, I've asked them if they can have a look at that, because obviously with the way things are, if somebody falls or whatever have you as well. And behind Pricewise, I know it's an unadopted road, but it's actually becoming a health hazard behind there where the drain is, because it's not being drained away, so that it can become a health hazard behind there. And also Park Estate, where they're saying there's a lot of cars parked on the grass verges rather than on the road themselves. So I've asked them to have a look at that as well. Thank you. No one else? Oh, Councillor Hobber.
Hello. Just a couple of things really. The address to the clerk, and one was the barriers at Peak Car. I've had a couple of emails back, some correspondence, saying that Gen 2 is in talks with Sunderland City Council, and they're expected to have some barriers up shortly. So have you had any correspondence back, Graham, at all? Or are you bringing that up later?
No, not since the last update that we had. I haven't had any developments, other than that they were looking at costings.
All right. Well, there's something positive, but we still need to keep pushing to make sure that happens. And the other one was, I actually sent our town clerk an email about a burglary that happened in February. I think I raised it in the last meeting as well. And the Crown Prosecution Service, even though they had video footage of the perpetrator leaving the house that they reside in, committing the crime, and returning back with the goods on camera, the Crown Prosecution Service has decided not to prosecute because it's not in the public interest. I think it's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. So I asked the town clerk to pen a letter to Northumbria Police to say whether we can get any more details. And then there was, I forget what the reply was, can't discuss individual cases. And then I think we asked for a further email to be sent. It wasn't the details about the individual, it was the details about the case, which I think if it's not in the public interest, then we need to know why it's not in the public interest. So anyway, that's my take on it. Feel free to chip in if you think, you know, if you think or you don't think a burglary should be prosecuted with video evidence. Crown Prosecution said the police are coming out and doing their jobs within hours and arrested the person, interviewed them, let them out, and then a couple of months later, again, goes back to my point about people who don't live in our communities making decisions to the detriment of our community. So, yeah, so I would like to push forward with that. So the proposal is to try and push forward with that, if you could, to try and get some sort of definitive answer from Northumbria Police, who I suppose are in direct contact with the CPS, and then we'll wait and see where that goes.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Town Clerk? Or yes? Okay, thank you.
Any other member? Any other member got them? No. No. That looks like. Oh, Councillor Geddes. You're on mute.
I'm trying. Just for Graham, the guy that you need to speak to is called Richard Heron. For that, for what Councillor Hoppers just mentioned. No relation to Bob, I don't think.
No.
Sorry, Councillor Geddes, where does he fit in?
He's the top legal bloke at Northumbria Police, and I've had a conversation with him.
Right. Is he part of the CPS then?
He deals with the CPS from the Northumbria Police side. He's the top solicitor for Northumbria Police.
Okay then, that's it. Yeah. Can we move on to the next item?
Excuse me. Yes, item 7. Sunderland City Councillors for Hetton and Cocktail Awards. Council to receive an update and members to raise any concerns. I don't think we'll have any city councillors here this evening. Wish to move on to item 8?
Yep.
Now, this is my town clerk's update. I've got a list. First thing to mention is that at the last meeting, I was asked to get in touch with Balfour Beatty about what was the view of the poor quality Christmas lights on the trees. I have emailed them, albeit very recently, asking for them to consider a reduction in the bill. I haven't heard back yet, and we haven't had the bill either. So I'll keep you posted on that one. The next thing just to make members aware of is that on Friday, the 8th of January, there was a delivery wagon skidded in the Hetton Centre car park and completely demolished one of the town council owned bench seats outside the Hetton Centre. It's currently taped off, but the cast iron leg on the right hand side is completely sheared off, and the one on the left hand side is looking pretty poorly as well. So I was able to identify the delivery company and who it was. I have emailed them to say that the incident happened, asked them to accept liability and provide me with details of their insurance claims process. I've yet to get even an acknowledgement back from them, but I will be chasing it up. In the meantime, I'll be speaking to the who I think is the supplier of that bench seat to get a cost for either the repair, which I don't think will be possible, or replacement. But whatever the outcome is, and hopefully the delivery company's insurers will settle it up, it's going to cost them rather a lot of money because the seats are around about £1,000. We'll have to pay for installation, we'll have to pay for uplift and disposal as well. So just to make members aware that there is a damaged seat. It's one of the few bits of property that we've actually got, and I'll let you know what's happening with that.
Heron, did you want to come in on that?
You're on mute, Robert.
Yeah, he's trying. I think he's given up. Oh, he's there.
Right. I think that seat was for Councillor Ethel Metcalf.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
I think it was partly sponsored by a family as well. I might be wrong on that one, but certainly I'm sure it was Councillor Metcalf's.
Right, thanks for that.
Now I've got to try and get it off, haven't I?
Okay, if I can move on to the next item. Just to let you know that I had asked the Police and Crime Commissioner for Northumbria to attend this evening's meeting and also ask for their availability for February and March, but I'm afraid I haven't heard back from our office yet.
Yes,
and I'll let members know. Similar situation with Robert Jenrick, the Secretary of State. I did ask in December if they could come to this meeting, didn't hear back, and I've chased them up asking for availability in February and March, but no response at this stage. Another update from you. At the last meeting, I was asked to request the attendance of the chairman of the Hetton Town Trust to come along this evening. I've emailed members earlier today a response I had from Mr. Scullion, the chairman. And that will be tabled under correspondence as well.
Rome, did you want to come in on that?
Yes, I would, regarding Hetton Town Trust. I'd just like to say that I have again asked the Town Trust why we can't have a meeting. If everyone has an email address, they must have access to the internet. The reason I am doing this, I don't want Alex Scullion or myself to be reporting matters of Hetton Town Trust to Hetton Town Council. The reason why I've brought this situation to Hetton Town Council is because I have been advised by the Charities Commission shortly before Christmas, when I was welcomed as a new member, hooray, after nearly 2 years, that it is my duty to familiarise myself with all the financial matters, all the matters that go on in the trust, because I'd be failing in my duty, and so will any charities trustee. I am failing in my duty, and I could be financially liable. And I don't know anything about Hetton Town Trust, apart from a few papers I get on the odd meeting I've had. I've never had a tour of the building. I have access to no records. I have no intention of disclosing them to the public, but I am failing in my duty, and that reflects badly on Hetton Town Trust and its representatives. Anyhow, I've asked for another meeting, so we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Quickly, thank you. Councillor Geddes, yeah.
Yeah, can I just come in on this? One of the reasons Hetton Town Council got involved with this is through the Little Gems Nursery as well. Well, if I recall, I think I asked Graham to contact Mr. Scullion, the chair, to invite him on here. I mean, this is the dilemma that I've got. How is Hetton Trust doing its business if they're not having meetings? I think it was Councillor Rowan, who's a representative of Hetton Town Council on that, which said, and I think she was supported by yourself, Madam Mayor, that you hadn't had a meeting since March. So who's making these decisions? you know, the decisions that's affecting Little Germs, the CAF area, who's making the decisions? If the full committee isn't meeting, who's making the decisions? And I think really that Mr. Scullion's reply is rather curt, to say the least. You know, I mean, if it need be, individuals can contact the Charitable Commission and put some questions to them as to how this organisation's being run. And if that's got to be me, I'll do it. Thank you very much.
You want to come back quick? Sorry, Councillor Rome. Did you not hear us before? Sorry.
Yes, I'd just like to say I did also ask for copies of the correspondence from Little Gem's nursery and our response, because I haven't even been allowed to see that. I'm not going to publish it anywhere, but I'd just like to know for my own what's going on, because from what I've heard through social media reports, they made a proposal, and I'd like to see that proposal because I think it could help the trust. I just need to see. I need to know what's going on. Every trustee needs to know what's going on. Thank you.
Councillor Waterston, did you want to come in, and then Councillor Elvin, then back to the clerk?
Yeah, if I can come back to Councillor Rome, I've actually got some of the correspondence that was passed to me, so I will let you have that if you want to see that came from Little Gems. I'll pass it on to you. You can have a look at it.
Thank you.
Elvin, and then.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I know from Mr. Scullion's very curt email, he stresses Hetton Town Trust is not answerable to Hetton Town Council. Could I propose that the town clerk writes back to Mrs. Scullion and asks who Hetton Town Trust is answerable to? That's a proposal. No, I'll have a seconder on that.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Oh, Councillor Geddes, Councillor Deputy. Okay. Right, Town Clerk, you want to continue?
Just coming back to Councillor Elvin's suggestion here, do we need to go around all members, or is there any dissent? Are you happy for me to go ahead?
Doesn't look like any dissent. I don't know whether you want to go through.
Right, let's go through everyone again. Again, same order. This is a proposal that I write to Hetton Town Trust to ask who they are accountable to. Councillor Heron?
Yes, I think he's nodding his head.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Coulson?
Agree.
Councillor Pearson?
Agreed.
Councillor Geddes?
Absolutely.
We're in a meeting now.
Councillor Farrell?
Yes.
Councillor Hopper?
Agree.
Councillor Turner?
Agree.
Councillor Elvin?
Agreed.
Councillor Deputy?
Agreed.
Councillor Waterston?
I think she's agreeing.
I think she
Agreed.
I think she's agreeing, yes.
Right, okay, sorry. Councillor Rome?
Agree.
Councillor Dodds?
Agree.
Councillor Willis?
Agreed.
Right, right, thank you.
Councillor Heron declares an interest of being a member of the trust.
I'll have to. Chair, I have to do the same as well because I'm a member of the trust.
Excuse me, you're not a member of the trust. You are a trustee as well, Councillor Heron. Actually, so are you, Madam Mayor, and
Oh,
so
yes,
are you.
Yes,
Yeah, you all are.
yeah, we are.
So how can you not want the trust to let trustees know what goes on, which is the basis of this correspondence?
Councillor Deputy has his hand up, Councillor Pearson.
All right, sorry, Councillor Deputy.
You're on mute, Councillor Duffy.
As we've got so many, trustee members here, can you not just have a meeting between yourselves without Councillor Scullion? Well, sorry, Mr. Scullion. If he's not willing to have a meeting with you all, have a meeting between yourselves, and let's get it in the open. You can have a Zoom meeting between yourselves.
I will look into what sort of quorum we need for that. If the chairman won't agree to it, I'll have to go and look into the notes. But that's quite a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Right, I know what I'm doing. Thank you. Oh, it's back to me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Wait a minute, I've lost my list again now. Right. Again, just a further update for members. At the September meeting, I was asked to write to an organisation, I think it was called Ambition, about Hetton Lions Boys Club, asking for a position statement and how the town council could assist in any way. I did write to them at the beginning of October, but I've only had a letter back at the start of January. That charity Ambition has now been merged with an organisation called UK Youth, and I've had correspondence from their Director of National Programmes, who is looking into the matter for us, and he hopes to be able to give us a response probably for the February meeting. So it's taken a while to get to someone there, but hopeful of getting a response back for next month. I'll keep you updated. And the final thing in my update, I've mentioned on several occasions ongoing liaison with Sunderland City Council to try and improve and streamline the feedback to members' requests and inquiries and complaints. And generally speaking, what I find is that the matters which are reported directly to the Chief Executive as a result of each monthly meeting will get a response in due course. More problematical has been what I might regard as the day-to-day issues that members often contact me with. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I had a chat on Friday morning with the customer service delivery manager at Sunderland City Council, and I outlined the difficulties that we're facing. They are looking at improving their communications more generally, and particularly with the help of digital solutions, and they'll be launching a digital platform in due course. And I hope, again, for February to bring some sort of report back, just outlining that in a little bit more detail. But the draft I've seen is 13 pages long, which I think is a bit OTT for a full meeting of Hetton Town Council. But in the meantime, I've been furnished with an address that members can use directly with Sunderland City Council. And I will circulate that to members tomorrow for use with immediate effect. And all I would ask is if members would be good enough to copy me in on anything they send to that email address, and so just so we can keep an eye on the sort of things that are getting reported to the City Council, and more importantly, the level of feedback. But the lady I've been dealing with is dead keen to try and improve the feedback. There you go. Positive. Positive. All right then. Thank you. Any queries on my report? Champion.
Can I just 2 seconds? I've got my hand up there. If you have a look.
Sorry. Yeah. See it.
It's just going back to the boys' club. Could Councillor Heron not help you with an update of what's going on with the boys' club, as he is a trustee, the only trustee?
Yeah, I went through all right. I've got a personal complaint in. It's regarding an issue that Councillor Elvin put me up to, and that's still going forward. Obviously, it's been locked down since last March with COVID, and I had word from the new director a couple of weeks ago saying that he was going to start dealing with the issue. But that's as far as it's gone anyway. Thank you.
Yeah. Next item is the financial report.
Yeah.
We've got 71 pence interest from Barclays. Don't go berserk. Don't go berserk. That's all I can say. I'll just bring this up on screen. Right, there we go. There's your 71 pence. Any queries at all? I don't think there's anything to highlight specifically, other than other expenditure. Our insurance policy is due for renewal. And what I've done there is quoted the headline figure, £720.58. I have actually had some correspondence from the insurance company who suggested that they can offer us better premiums for long-term deals, and they've given me prices for a 3-year term at £688.43, or a 5-year long-term agreement at £657.38. Now, I don't know what members' wishes are on this. We've been with Zurich Municipal for quite some time now, and the last time I put this out to market, the brokers came back and said they wouldn't insure us. That was back in 2018. So the way things are at the moment is we'll have the insurance renewal now at £720.58, or the option to consider one of 2 long-term agreement options. I don't know if anybody's got any other views on that. I was going to take this off share for the moment.
I can see Councillor Rome's hand up. Councillor Rome, did you have your hand up? Yes, sorry, and Councillor Elvin.
Well, Madam Mayor, on the basis that it's normal for insurance companies to increase their premiums annually, we all know that when it comes to our car insurance and home insurance, it would seem prudent to accept an offer which gives us a reduction on this year's premium, and that reduction being carried forward for either 3 or 5 years. Assuming the level of cover doesn't change. To me, it would seem a good idea. I don't know what other councils think, but it'll help us save some money, and it gives us a security of knowing we're going to be covered for either 3 or 5 years if the clerk found difficulties in trying to get alternative suppliers to.
Thank you. Councillor Rome?
Yes, we were offered a reduction. Well, I was offered a reduction on my car insurance, and I also obtained a reduction on the home insurance, buildings and contents, because of COVID. So I don't know if maybe the town clerk could ask if we didn't want to enter into a 2 or 3 year term, would we still get a discount on last year's premium?
I haven't asked this specific question. I suspect not, because for the first time, if you recall, I produced an asset register which rather significantly increased the amount of stuff which we actually own. Well, we've always owned it, it's just never been quantified. So I suspect that is an element of it. My wider view is that if council wanted to go for one of the longer term agreements, I would suggest avoid 5 years, because 5 years is a very long time. And we already previously fallen foul of that with the photocopier and the franking machine, which are 5 year agreements. And lots of things can change in that period. But ultimately, it's up to the council. We can either go with the premium recorded, then perhaps at the end of this term, see if we can go out to market again, or go for a 3 or a 5 at the rates indicated.
I'm happy to do what Councillor Elvin said. To be honest with you, there's not a great deal of choice out there for councils, or in my case, when I used to deal with it, educational buildings, and they are one of the top ones.
Elvin?
Well, just to conclude the matter, could I propose that we take the 3 year agreement and see if that proposition has any traction?
I'll second that.
3 year.
Yes.
Yeah, if I'm just sorry, just before we move on, just to make it clear that if our level of insurance requirements differs, it will affect the premium. if for example, I don't know, you know, we're still need to buy a fleet of vehicles, for example, or some plant, that will have an increase. So it's frozen at that level based on current policy requirements. And obviously, if there's any increase or changes to government policy on things like insurance premium tax, that would have a bearing on it as well. And it's also subject to index linking on building and contents. So there are some provisos in that.
Madam Mayor, could I ask when do we have to? What's the deadline for the decision, Graham?
I think, if you bear with me, I'll tell you. Tomorrow. Although, in fairness, I do think there's a little bit of leeway.
I think we better jump out.
Councillor Coulson. Councillor Coulson.
There's one point, the financial and banking system is about to change very shortly. So I don't know whether that's going to make any difference or not. Thank you.
You've lost me.
Oh, yeah.
Madam Mayor, could I ask, has anybody got any, contrary views? Obviously need to get
I would say, yeah, I would say leave it at the year because of the way COVID is at the moment. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. Next year, I would say leave it at the year for now. That's my own personal opinion.
Is that a counter proposal, Madam Mayor?
Not a second, but yeah.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you.
Square one.
Defty.
Yeah, I was gonna say go for the year, and then obviously in the meantime,
things out, check things out.
Let's do some research during this year, ready for next year. And see what other
and see what brings. Yeah,
I mean, there are specialist brokers out there for the local council sector. As I said, the last time we went out was in 2018, and they came back at the 11th hour and said, after badgering me for some time to, give them details of the policy, they came back to me at the 11th hour, I think it was the day before the meeting, and said, no, we're not going to cover you, we can't get anybody who's interested. So there may well be some merit, the market does change over time, there may be some merit in just running with the current premium and then having a further look. Can
I just say, Mr. Town Clerk, when it goes up 100%, I'm going to remind everybody of it. Me and Richard will be all right.
It won't.
Madam Mayor, would you like me to withdraw?
We'll sell the council offices if it goes up.
Yeah.
We haven't got it, sir.
If the consensus seems to be with the Madam Mayor, then maybe I'll withdraw it if you like.
If we take a vote on it and then we.
Okay, then we'll take a vote.
Yeah.
You have to vote on yours first, and then mine afterwards.
I propose that we go with the year.
You're working me hard tonight, mind.
Sorry, Town Clerk.
I find me piece of paper with all this.
I second that.
Go with the
right. Hang on.
Hang on. He's finding his bit of paper. Hang on.
Right. So 1 year.
Yeah.
Councillor Coulson.
1 year.
Councillor Pearson.
1 year.
Councillor Geddes.
I'm going to stick with me, Craig.
You can't. You've got to say no to this.
Councillor Farrow.
Yes, 1 year.
Councillor Turner.
1 year.
Well, that's it, Richard. We're not going.
Councillor Elvin.
No.
1 year. Have it.
Councillor Defty.
1 year.
Councillor, where have we gone? Councillor Waterston.
1 year, I think she's saying yes.
Councillor Room.
1 year.
Councillor Willis.
1 year.
Councillor Hopper.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to go with Councillor Elvin. I feel sorry for him. I've changed my mind 1 year. 1 year.
Yeah, he's changed his mind.
Councillor Dodds?
1 year. I think we've lost Councillor Heron as well.
Yes, yeah. Well, we've lost him just before this discussion.
All right.
So, sorry, Councillor Dodds, did you say 1 year?
I did, yes.
Thank you.
Can I just
For
say,
1 year?
Can I just say before we go on this one, for those of you that watch The Quiet Man, as I do, it's my favourite film, and Mick Lee says, put the name in the book and strike a line through it. You've all got your line struck through you.
No idea what you're on about, so it's all right.
Michael Hopper does, he knows.
No idea.
So, that was 9 in favour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, 10 in favour. I think, no, I've lost me. Who else said no?
Oh,
it's
Councillor Elvin.
Right, two no's. Okay.
3. Mr. Hopper said no. Councillor Hopper
He changed
said no
his
as
mind,
well.
though. He changed his mind.
Wind us up.
I didn't want me heart to roll me head.
Okay, so we're sticking with the current arrangement by the looks of it. Thank you very much. Can I
Mind
just
us
ask,
when we finish.
were there any other queries on the financial report? No. Interestingly, I haven't yet had the accounts in from either Sunderland City Council for the Christmas trees or, as I mentioned earlier, Balfour RBE for the illuminations. So they will be coming in at some stage. So, do members approve the financial report?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Any dissent?
Yeah.
No.
Approved.
Can I make one comment, Madam Mayor? Just as comment that the Zoom video communication charge of £14.39, we're saving an absolute fortune not being charged by the hour after, is it 8 o'clock? Renting the council
7
chamber?
o'clock. 7
From
o'clock.
Hetton Town Trust?
Yes.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, every cloud has a silver lining.
True.
Oh, hey.
Okay.
Lost the agenda now.
And planning matters.
Right, I knew that. I've got it. I've got it.
Oh,
here.
you've got it.
Got it. So, planning matters. We have 3 planning applications again. I'll bring these up on screen. Hold on. Oh, something like this. Didn't like this. Yeah, this first one, this was discussed at the extraordinary meeting we had on the 5th of January, and I've had a number of members on the phone to me today about this. Basically, it's pulled, certainly in the short term. I've sent an email around to members just very late this afternoon after hearing back from the City Council, and they now want an archaeological survey, and I understand as well that Lions, Windows and Doors Limited have said that they're not associated with this application. So it's a complete mystery to me, complete mystery. But it's immaterial because it's invalid anyway.
I was amazed at that. An archaeological, you know, I couldn't understand it. Has that ever been done before over there?
Hello, can I speak?
Joint Councillor Defty, I believe.
Yeah. It's the old Lions Windows site. It isn't the Lions Windows where they're at now.
So 5 and 6 where the thing we used to be.
Further down, yeah. So where there's a new unit on already, I seem to suspect that they've built that unit without planning.
Well, that's what threw me at the last council meeting when I asked about it.
Me too,
Yeah.
Councillor Waterston.
Yeah.
So I've had conversations with the Lions Windows, and the
I
fire
meet today.
old units that they used to have further down the street. It has absolutely nothing to do with them. So
Yeah.
it's Pallet Man. It's Pallet Man who's.
Pallet Man, yeah.
Okay.
I wonder why the archaeological people are involved. I'm quite surprised about that.
Chairman, can I
As
just
like I
can I
say,
just
it's already
comment?
been built on. It's already been built on.
Chairman, can I just comment on this one? Because that's a very query. When I got the email back from the City Council, I thought, what on earth do they want an archaeological survey for? And I sent another email back asking the lady concerned to ring me back. And in fairness to her, she was just part of the team that carries out initial validation. The bottom line is she didn't know the answer. And I said, well, it doesn't matter anyway because it's nothing happening with it, certainly at the moment. So just want to keep an eye on, I think. And
Get it mixed up with Cragdale.
My suggestion is this just needs to be noted at this stage. Is that okay?
Yep.
City position noted. Okay, the next one is, bear in mind I can't see anybody, mind you. 17 North Road. Any views?
No objection.
Says okay.
Can I just make a point? There was an objection from the neighbour on this. I don't know whether people had a look and saw that the proposed extension would be very close to the neighbour's house and they would lose a lot of light and so on. I don't think that's probably grounds for them not getting planning permission. And whichever way we go, we're going to upset somebody. So it's a difficult one, but I don't think we can place any objections.
Thank you.
My objection would be more an aesthetic one, that it's a rather ugly extension that they're proposing to build. And if this was an area where there were listed buildings, I don't think it would be allowed on those reasons. But that's by the by.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Can we move on to the next one? Or Spring Meadows, Horton.
No objections.
No, I have no objection to that one.
Thank you. All right, that's your 3 planning applications. The next one is correspondence, which I've sent out to all members earlier today. I think there's been a rush of correspondence on over the last few days, actually. Just bring the list up. Yes, Rural Market Towns Group asking the council if we'd like to take part in a transport survey. This is the group we joined free of charge a little while ago. I don't know, Councillor Alvin, if you've had this directly or not, or if it's something of interest to the council to ask you to complete.
Yes, I've had a look at it and sort of getting my head around it. I think maybe it's something we should complete, but I'm just sort of still working on it a bit at the moment, to be honest. It's seeing what the relevance it is to us.
Councillor is Council happy for Councillor Alvin to proceed?
Yes.
Yeah. Is our rep on that group. Thank you. Next one, members have already seen this. It was from the Hetton Colliery Railway 200 with notification of their AGM and annual report. You've all had that on the 5th of January. Noted.
Yes.
Thanks. Next one on the list, just to report the response we had from Alan Rowan about Hetton Nursery when I did write to him to ask for the consultation to be stopped. Members have all had a copy of that. And obviously we've discussed that earlier this evening. Last week I circulated a letter from Councillor Sue Baxter, who's the chairman of the National Association of Local Councils. She covered a variety of topics, which I thought was an interesting read, unless I need to get out more, but I thought it was quite interesting. I think that's just for noting at this stage.
Yeah.
But I think there's one or two things that you mentioned will potentially gain some traction, and there'll be further information out in due course, I think. Next one is some stuff which is coming from the County Durham Association of Local Councils just on Friday. I haven't had the chance to read that in depth myself. The key element of that email, which I've circulated earlier today, was about more financial training sessions. Now, some of these run as far ahead as June and July this year. So I think there's a little bit of time on that, and potentially for me to come back. But if members would like to have a look at that, if that's in order.
Yeah.
If you, Councillor Pearson.
Yes. I've seen that, and I've just sent it back the dates I want, or dates.
Right. Any further comments on that one?
No.
Oh, fine. The penultimate one on the list, Hetton Town Trust, I've already referred to that, and there's already been a discussion around it. And finally, an email from the local MP asking for participation in a survey around, I think it was primary education affected by lockdown. Just for noting.
Can I just on the MPs, could we ask what Miss Phillipson's thoughts are on the actual closure of the nursery, rather than getting all the thoughts of everyone else's? Is she going to support it staying open, or does she want to close it? Could we ask that?
I don't see why not. I had a feeling that she'd already been contacted by the headmistress.
To see what her thoughts were. Is she for or against?
That's something Councillor wishes me to do. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you, obviously an earlier action from this evening was for me to seek sorry, it was twofold. One was to write to all members of the City Council asking for the positions. Does Council feel that the same text and narrative would be appropriate to send to the MP?
Well, I don't see why not.
Yeah. Right. So is that an action you would like me to fulfill?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Right, thank you. Okay, that concludes your correspondence.
Town Clerk, could I just, Madam Mayor, with your permission, could I just say, how disappointed I was with the format of the letter from the local MP, which said, "Hello, Graham Key, to all parents and carers of primary age children. I didn't realise you were a carer of primary age children. Maybe you are." I would have thought it would. You're obviously just on her emailing this, so I would have thought it was a bit. It's a standard generic letter. I think it shows just the disrespect and disregard, but not only the MP has for the town council, but also the, Sunderland City Council we discussed before, why she couldn't, or her people couldn't just send a personalised email to you saying, "Dear Graham, would you ask, would you bring this up at town council and ask the council members to circulate it?" I just feel it's, I don't know, just think it's really bad form. That's my view. I really do.
I concur.
Madam Mayor, can I just come in there?
Yes, Councillor Dodds?
Yeah. The MP made a statement on the 20th of November saying she would continue to do all that she could to support the nursery, Ruth and her staff, on Facebook. So she has shown her support for the nursery.
Councillor Geddes?
If she said that, could we ask her what support she's prepared to give them? Because anybody can say that. what tangible support is she going to give? Is she going to write to all of the councillors? You know, so, you know, anybody can just say, I can support. I would like to ask her what support she's going to give. Tangible support.
Yeah, specific question, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Madam Mayor, could I suggest then that the original proposal says, makes reference to her public statement on Facebook of whatever date it was, and that could she give us specifics as to how she's actually going to
20th of November.
That.
What's she doing up to now, and what's she going to do in the future? You know, tangible, not just words, tangible.
Councillor Dodds, what did you say at the end there? Sorry, I never heard you.
The 20th of November.
20th of November.
Okay, just so I'm absolutely clear then, that's a slightly different approach to what we spoke about a couple of minutes ago. Is everybody in agreement?
yes.
Yeah.
Any dissent? No. Right. Okay, thank you for that. But move on to the final item tonight. This item 15, just giving details of the next meeting, scheduled meeting 15th of February. If I can just remind members that we have a meeting with the Finance Committee scheduled for this Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. And that meeting will then require an extraordinary meeting of the Council to ratify the recommendations that Finance Committee comes up with. And unfortunately, the February meeting will be too late to meet the City Council deadlines for precept setting purposes. So I'm afraid you're having another extraordinary meeting, probably going to be, well, it will be next Monday. So I just thought I'd leave you on with that note. So move for your to look forward to.
Thank you, Graham.
Very kind.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, again, further details will follow up on that. But I'm afraid it's necessary again to meet timescales.
Can we all remember the meeting tomorrow night as well?
Yes. 5:30.
5:30. Let's not
5:30.
forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say it's on the City of Sunderland College's YouTube live as well.
Yes.
The YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Members of the public, I think we're done. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Very much. Thank
I'm going to
you.
stop recording now.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Night.
Bonsoir.